Alright, so I think this is take 4 of this video. Um, Out here in Colombia, there's quite a bit of homelessness and houselessness, so in the second take, I wanted to offer some water to someone who was asking for it when I was filming in the other one. But anyway, this video is, as you read the title, how the most costly advice is actually bad advice. And I'm gonna share my experience of how I came to that through my own personal journey. And so just to give you some context, I'm in Colombia right now. I'm 31. I've been traveling for about 7 years, and it's been about 30 or 33 countries. And so I started when I was 24, and I was traveling through Mexico. I remember getting a phone call from my dad about 6 months into my travels, and he's asking how I'm doing. And at that time, I was struggling. I didn't know how I was going to financially support myself. I was teaching yoga and movement and acrobatics. I was participating in anything that I could that would allow me to financially support myself. And so we're on the phone, he's talking to me, he goes, hey, at some point, you won't be able to just live this type of lifestyle that you want. You're gonna have to get a real job. And so when I heard that, I was kind of heartbroken. One, it's my dad and I love him dearly, so whatever he says is gonna influence me. And I got so upset because my dream was to travel the world at that time. And it was much stronger than the message he was telling me. And I said, you're wrong. And I remember hanging up the phone. And I ended up figuring out, how to get around Mexico and to travel there. And so the second year happens. I'm now in Europe, I'm traveling Europe, I moved to London and I'm living in London. And I get a phone call from my yoga teacher. I remember I was sitting inside a Whole Foods. And I'm like, yeah, this is amazing, it's been a year, I can't believe I've done this. And he goes, well, at some point, you're gonna wanna create something of tremendous value for other people. In order to do that, you're gonna need to be stable and focus. And I was like, no, I wanna continue traveling the world. And I don't have to be limited to bringing value to people based on the ability to just stay in one location. I mean, I can focus and create while I'm on the go. And he was someone to me that is very dear. It was a yoga teacher that I had learned from, and he inspired me to go on this journey that I've been on. And so I remember, again, I was upset. I was like, ugh, and I hang up. I was like, I'm gonna figure this out, and I'm gonna get to a point in my life to where no one can tell me that the decisions I'm making as far as my lifestyle can't be done. And so, years go by, and now this year, last story to kind of highlight the title and message of this video is I was in Guadalajara, Mexico with my family, and I have an uncle out there, and when he was younger, he was quite famous. He was traveling around America, selling his art, doing expos, and we're having lunch, and he starts to give me advice on finances. And I remember, because I know his situation, he likes to play the narrative of the starving artist. And for me, I don't play that narrative. I think, you can create from a place of abundance. You don't have to feel pain or stress in order to create something that will inspire other people. And so I look at him and I said, I appreciate that you're trying to give me advice about finances, yet you haven't had the mentors, you haven't had the education and the knowledge around how finances actually work. And the reason I was able to say that to him is because I had done all those things. I had suffered in my years of living through financial poverty and not believing in myself. And so I sought out the mentors who didn't have that. They were years ahead of me. They educated themselves. They were able to build financial independence for themselves. And so I had gotten to that place within myself. And so I'm looking at him and I said, you're not in a position to give me the advice. Until you are, then please do so. And I said, I'll pay for lunch. And he looked at me and he smiled. And I know some of you may be thinking like, whoa, Nick, that's super harsh. How could you? That's so mean and rude. That's your family. And the thing is no, I have to take care of myself. And I have to recognize when people say something to me, where are they coming from? And most people try to come from a place of good intentions, but not all intentions are good. Just like not all advice is good, right? And how sometimes the most costly advice is bad advice. Because if I had listened to him, he doesn't have the background, and it could affect me, and I could use the thought of my dad who said, I have to get a real job, and I would have never ended up traveling around the world and having this epic experience. And so my message to you is to just be cautious, when you're listening to your friends, your family, people you meet, that often people want to give you advice, their perception. And what that does is it influences your own paradigm on how you look at life. It influences on how you believe in your own ability to go out into the world and create. And so be mindful of that, Look at those who have the experience and have accomplished what it is that you want, and then model that individual. That's kind of what I wanted to share. Hopefully this isn't too long. If you got this far, thank you for listening. And depending on where you are, have a good night or a good day.